Good morning. This is your lecture 11, RFIC design. And in today's class, we will solve numericals from the topics what we discussed so far. So how much possible, we will try to solve numericals. And if you have doubts on the concepts what we have learned, we will clarify that also. So let us start with the first question. Okay, so this is a question, and an amplifier is delivering 14.3 dBm power to a 50 ohm antenna evaluate the peak to peak output swing required of the amplifier. Right. So you can solve and tell me the answers in the chat box. We have solved similar kind of numerical in the beginning. So power is given as 14.3 dBm. Resistance to the antenna is 50 ohms. You are asked to find the output swing of the amplifier. Yes, 3.28. Okay. Yes, the answer is correct, 3.28. So I hope you know how to do this. So what you have to do is you have to, from the power, so this is 14.3 dBm. This is can be equated to 10 log power in watts divided by 1 milliwatts. From this you will get the power. I think you will get, what is the power value? Yeah, you can find power, and from that power, from the RMS value. So this power is equal to VRMS square by R. If you know the power value and resistance value, you can get VRMS value, and VRMS, yeah, from VRMS you can get V peak to peak. That is the peak to peak output swing. So peak to peak is equal to 3.28 volts. I hope I hope this is clear. Any doubts in this? Oh, 20, okay, 26.915. I do not have that power in between. I hope you all got the final answer as 3.28. Can I get response in the chat box? All right, okay. Yeah, thank you. So we'll move on to the next question. So next question is, uh, yeah, a system is comprised of two blocks with the first block having a gain of alpha 1 equals 10 and input IP3 of AP3 1 as 1, and there is a second block that is having a gain of, since it is another block we are using the notation beta 1, that is 2, and it's having an input IP3 of AIP3 2 as 1. Now the question is, what is the input IP3? What is the input IP3 of the system as a whole? What is the input IP3 of the system as a whole? That is the first part. Now second part of the question is, what does the system input IP3 become if the order of the blocks are reversed? The order is reversed, what will happen? And one more third part is, what does this tell us about how we should distribute the gain in a system if we want to try and maximize the linearity. There are three parts to this question. A system which is having two blocks. The first block is having a gain of 10 and second block is having gain of 2. The IP3, AIP3 of each individual block is given as 1. The question is, what is the cascaded IIP3? That is the first question. Second question is, if we are reversing the order of the blocks, that is a block having alpha 1 of 10 as the second one and block having beta 1 as 2 as the first one, how your IP3 will change. And the third part is, by looking at the IP3 of both the cases, with the alpha 1 as first stage and alpha 1 as a second stage, as both the cases, by looking at the IP3, what we understand, that is, like, if you want to maximize linearity, in what way we should distribute the gain in a system. I think for the C part I'll give a little more clarity. You can try out this question and you can tell me the answers for A first and then B and then we'll go to C. Let me ask to someone. Yeah, you can get the answers and you can please hold on to yourselves. I'll just Ashwin, are you there? Advait Ashwin. Hello, Ashwin. Okay, Ashwin is not there. Anand?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Anand, did you get the answer for the A part?
Sir, I'm still doing, sir.
Okay, okay, yeah. So you can directly apply the formula there. We know if you have two stages in cascade, what will be the AIP3 formula? You can apply the same formula there. Mayuka, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So did you get the answer?
Sir, I got 0.0995
Okay,
for
okay.
part A.
All right, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So if you solve it, those who got the answer is right. It is 0.099. So for those who did not get the answer, we can try out in this way. So this is the system. You have two blocks in cascade. So I'm taking this with alpha 1 and this with beta 1, and this alpha 1 is given as 10, this is 10 and this is 2, and AIP3 of both stages are 1, both stages are 1, and we know to solve the A part, 1 by AIP3 total square is equal to 1 by AIP3 1 square plus alpha 1 by AIP3 2 square, alpha 1 square by AIP3 2 square. So this is the formula. You can directly apply the values. AIP3 1 is there, AIP3 2 is there, alpha 1. Here beta 1 is not required, so alpha 1 is there. So you can substitute that and you will get AIP3 total as 0.0995 volts. So this is for the A part. Now B part is the same thing. The only thing is we are the same system. We are just reversing the order. That means the first block is beta 1, which is having a gain of 2, and then second block is alpha 1, which is having a gain of 10. Both have AIP3 same as 1 1 itself. So this case, anyone got the answer for this second case? You can put in the chat box. Yeah, 0.4472. Yes. Yes, Sarvesh. Yeah. The other answers also I have seen. Anirudh and Anand, I have seen your answers. Nishant, yes, yes. Very good. Kevin, Sudhindra Hegare, yeah, I saw your answers. So in the second case, if you apply the same way, you will get AIP3 total as 0.447 volts, right? This is the second part. Now, what is the third question? The third question is, what does this tell us about how we should distribute the gain in a system if we want to try and maximize linearity? So by looking at these two cases, in one case in the first case, the first stage had a large gain. In the second case, second stage had a large gain, right? So by looking at the AIP3 value, definitely AIP3 value is telling you about the linearity of the system. So looking at the values, how can we say, or how can we distribute gain, or how should be the gain to maximize linearity? Uh, can I get any answers in the chat box? First system should have small alpha. Yes, increasing with stages. Very good. Yes, that is true. So the answer for the C part is, if you want to maximize linearity, so to maximize linearity, we should minimize the gain used in the early stages. Early stages of a cascade. That's it. Right. So moving on to the third question. Yeah. This third question. Somebody, I forgot, somebody asked me about IIP2. So how we measure IIP3. Similarly, do we have a measure called as IIP2? So we'll try a numerical based on that. Okay, so the question is this: assume a system model using the expression y of t equals alpha 1 x of t plus alpha 2 x square t alpha 2 x square t plus alpha 3 x cube t. So this is your system. Now the question is, there are two parts. The first part is derive an expression for the AIP2 point, where AIP2 point is the input amplitude for which the second order IM products are equal to the fundamental, right? So this is AIP2, the first part, and second part is if for an input power of minus 40 dBm, the power of fundamental components at the output is minus 10 dBm and the power of IM2 components is minus 50 dBm. In that case, what is the IIP2 of the system? So first you have to get an expression for AIP2, and then it is given that for an input power of minus 40 dBm, the fundamental component is at minus 10 dBm and the IM2 component is at minus 50 dBm. So what will be the IIP2 of the system? So you can try before posting answers, you can just try taking 1 or 2 minutes, and I shall check with individuals so that I'll know whether they are attending or not. So any answers for AIP2? Okay, so yeah. So alpha 1 by alpha 2. Understand which frequency of second modulation coincides with the primary one. Siddharth, I'm not getting what you are writing. Can you unmute? Yeah.
Like, sir, like usually AIP2 or like AIP3 was how alpha 3 reduced the gain of the primary frequency.
No. Come again. Alpha 3?
Basically, AIP3
Yeah.
was, I think I got confused with compression point.
Yeah,
Not sure.
probably. Yes.
Yeah.
Your AIP3 is this actually. Your
Oh,
fundamental component becoming equal to the third order intermodulation term, 3 by 4.
oh,
Right.
yes, sir.
Yeah. So in a similar way, probably you are confusing with 1 dB compression point.
Yes, sir.
That's okay. Yeah. Yeah. Some of you got answers. Yes, it is omega 1 minus omega 2. Oh, so Siddharth, if your question was that, yes. Second order intermodulation terms appears at omega 1 plus or minus omega 2. Yes, those are the intermodulation terms. Sorry, I didn't understand that.
No, sir. No, my question was no second order term comes at omega 1 or at omega 2. So why
Okay.
would it affect the, like, why would you want AIP2?
Oh, okay, now we are asking a different question.
Yeah, it's related to the compression point thing.
Okay.
It's wrong,
Now,
sir.
yeah. So you got clarity or still you have questions?
I got clarity.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So to arrive at the expression for AIP2, so it is very similar to AIP3 calculation. So probably we can start by writing the IM2 terms. So if you look at IM2 terms, so if I'm writing the IM2 terms first, it will be alpha 2 A1 A2 cos omega 1 plus omega 2 into T plus cos omega 1 minus omega 2 into T. This is the IM2 term. Now similar to IP3, what we can do here is we can equate the fundamental term, neglecting, so we are not considering the gain compression on the fundamental. Probably that we are same thing we have done for IIP3 also. So we are equating, now what we have to do is we are equate equate fundamental term to the IM2 term. So in that case, we will just assume that both A1 is equal to A2 is equal to A. So what we can do is we can equate. So the fundamental coefficient is nothing but alpha 1 into A, and your IM3 coefficient is alpha 2 into A square from this, right? So we are equating these two. Now when these two are equal, that particular amplitude, so this particular amplitude is nothing but AIP2. So you can get the value of AIP2 from this as AIP2 can be written as alpha 1 by alpha 2, right? So this is the expression, the derivation part, or how to arrive at the value for AIP2. Now, how will you solve the second part? So you have given the input power, fundamental component at the output is known, and power at the power of the IM2 component is also known. So how will you find the IIP2 of the system? Any idea? Vishnu, 2 alpha 1 by alpha 2. What is that? Half is there.
Yes, sir. When we square it, it becomes cos square. So we have to convert to just cos. That time half will come.
No, that is coming as the DC term, right?
No, sir. I
Oh
mean
no.
this order
Oh
it
yeah,
comes.
yeah, yeah. True, true. Alpha 2 is there. Yes, correct. So this is 2 times, right? No, this is by 2. Here there is by 2, right?
So finally you get 2 times the ratio.
Yeah, so half is coming at this point, right?
Yes, sir. In the second order term.
Yeah, so this is half. So it is 2 times, yes. Right. Now, how will you arrive at, yeah, how will you solve this question, IIP2? Gain is alpha 1, gain is 30 dB. How is gain is 30 dB? No, from the difference. Huh? Yeah, gain is 30 dB. So we need to get IIP2 and we do not have an equation for IIP2, right? IIP3 we have derived. Anirudh, you can unmute.
Sir, once we evaluate the sum, since the two cost terms have the same amplitude, after adding the two cost terms, the 1/2 gets cancelled, I think. It'll be 2 times alpha 2 into alpha 1 in, 2 times alpha 2 into A1 into A2 by 2. So the 2 gets cancelled.
Yeah, I think that is correct. Let me just check. Oh, here probably I have written only the coefficient there, right? The individual coefficient, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So let me look at this. Oh, when I add those two together, it is simply alpha 2 A1 square, right?
Yes, sir. Exactly. Exactly.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, sorry. Yeah, thank you for pointing out. Even Vishnu, yeah, I did not notice that. So I am actually taking the sum of two components, right? One component is half. So while adding, there is half will not be there. Is that clear, Vishnu?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Vishnu and Anders, for bringing this point over here. So this is not there. Yeah. All right. So come to the second part of the question. So how will you solve it? So can you try graphically to solve this? So graphically in the sense, from the transfer carrier, I'm just giving you a hint. From the transfer carrier is input power on one side and output power on the other side. So we know for input power what is the fundamental and what is the IM2 products. And one more thing we know, the fundamental and IM2 products will have a fundamental if it is going with a slope of 1, this IM2 will go with a slope of 2. Right. So with that, graphically can you obtain the value of AIP2? So AIP2 is nothing but when these two are equating, so when these two are intercepting together, that point on the input power it refers to IIP2 and on the output side it refers to AIP2. Can you guys try? We do not know the frequency. Why do you want to know frequency? Abhinav, you can unmute.
Sorry, sir, I got confused with spectrum.
All right, okay, okay. So if you're getting answers, please let me know. I'll give you 2 minutes of time. All right, you can try and let me know what you are getting.
Sir, I'm not sure if this is correct, but I thought of using ratio.
Okay.
Like what we can do is we can do the AIP2 with the fundamental component, and then we can take log both sides.
Okay.
So what we'll get is 20 log AIP2 equals to 20 log the input amplitude, and the difference of the AIP2 with the output. So it will become like that. The finally IIP2 equals to the difference with the fundamental component plus the input power.
Oh, you have arrived at the same with the same way as we have did for IAP3.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is the
Yeah,
value?
a little different. That's
Huh?
all. Only like the what we have used is different, but method is same.
Yeah. So what is the IAP2 value?
So I just did the derivation. I didn't note down the numbers properly.
All right. Yeah, because I need to validate that. Probably it can be right, but if you can tell me the value, I can check.
So if you show me the question, I can tell the answer. Like it won't take much time.
Now I have given the question, right? Yeah, the question is input power is this, output power is this, or and the IM2 power is this. So what is IIP2? Yeah, all can try and just let me know the answer for this. Yes, Nikhil, you got 0 dBm. Okay. Okay, we'll come back to Nikhil. Any other answers?
I am also getting 0.
Very good. Okay. Any more answers on that? Okay, you can try. So meanwhile, I'll just plot graphically here. So here I'll be marking the input power, which is in dBm, and this will be the output power, which is in dBm. Now, so let me start somewhere here. So what is the input power given? Input power is minus 40 dBm. So let me start here. This is my minus 40 dBm point. For that minus 40 dBm at the input side, at output I am getting a fundamental term of minus 10. So say I'll take it over here. This is minus 10 dBm. right? So this is how my graph is. So since it is fundamental, it will be going with a slope of 1 proportionately in the this one in the log scale as well. This is dBm. Now, so if I draw a line here, how as my input progresses, output also will be progressing in a linear way. So I can say it will take, your plot will be something like this, right? So this will be a fundamental component. Now for the same input, minus 40, okay, so this is minus 10. Probably I'll take this as minus 20, this minus 30, this as minus 40, and this as minus 50. 0 dBm. So each with the 5. Each box is 5 dBm. All right. So this the red line is actually your input, the fundamental response. Now I will plot for the IM2 component. So for the same input amplitude of minus 40 dBm, we are getting a fundamental term of minus, what is the value? Fundamental term is minus 50 dBm. So for minus 40, the fundamental term is actually somewhere here. This is your IM2 component. Now, so IM2 component will be going with the slope of 2, right? That means it will not go like this, rather it will go with the slope of 2, means something like this. So if I extend this, oh, okay, let me mark this side as well. So this is minus 40. This is minus 30. This is minus 20. This is minus 10. And this is 0. And this is 10, like that. So I should have drawn with a reduced scale. I don't know. So if you draw this, this will go with this slope. Yeah, I'm not able to complete this over this graph. So what we can understand is this red line and this blue line will meet at this point, which is your IP2 point. So whenever your fundamental meets here, IM2 component, that is providing, so that corresponding point will be your IP2, and you can graphically get IP2 in this form. So this is your 0 dBm, which is your IP2. So if you scale it properly, I hope you understand, right? If I change the scaling and if I draw it with the slope of 1 and with a slope of 2, it will meet at this corresponding point, and we will get the value as 0 dBm, right? So correspondingly, if you look at the output side, you will get OIP2. I think OIP2 will also come in the next one. Probably it will be very close to 30 dBm, right? So any other methods you guys have used, or this is the way? So Nikhil, you have tried this way, or you mathematically? All right, okay. So is this clear how I have got it graphically?
So could you show the mathematic way?
Okay. Yeah. So let me just check with this. Any more clarity required in this? Can I get few response from others? So anyone tried any other methods, or whether this is clear, this graphical method is clear? All right. Okay. Can I get few more response? Okay. All right. Fine. So anyone else tried the other way? All right, Nikhil, can you just explain how you arrived at the mathematically, how did you arrive at the value?
Yes, sir. So first we take the ratio of the fundamental component and the IM2 components.
Okay.
So there we get, so like if we express the ratio in terms of IP2, so we get it as IP2 by A in. So then we take the logarithm on both sides and we just add and subtract the values, so we get it.
Okay, can you come again? I didn't follow that.
Yes, sir. So we take the ratio of the fundamental component amplitude and
That
the
is alpha 1A.
alpha 1 A, and then we take the amplitude of the IM2 component, that is
It is alpha
alpha to A square.
A square, yes.
So, so this becomes AIP2 divided by A, because we have derived that AIP2 is alpha 1 by alpha 2.
Yes, true. Okay.
So we substitute that in this equation. So first we cancel that A and A square.
Yeah, that is finally that is your AIP2 only, right?
Yes, sir. So we take the logarithm on both
All right.
sides.
So your alpha 1 you directly obtained as 30 dB or the equivalent of that, and alpha 2 you have taken as this component, right? With your 40 and minus 40 and minus 50, so that is coming around minus 10 dBm, right?
Yes, sir.
So minus 10 dBm will give you alpha 2.
So, but like the individual things aren't required now, sir. We can take the value of 20 log, the fundamental component is minus 10 dBm, and the output to be minus 50 dBm, and the input part to be minus 40 dBm directly.
Oh, and then you are just equating both.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Can you put a snap in WhatsApp? I'll just look into that.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. I think that is the same idea what we have done for IIP3. So you can try in that way also. Let me just look at what Nikhil has done on that. All right. So shall we move on to one more numerical? Yeah. So an LNA having IIP3 of minus 10 dBm and a gain of 20 dB is followed by a mixer with an IIP3 of 4 dBm. Which stage limits the IIP3 of the cascade more? So an LNA having IIP3 of minus 10 dBm and a gain of 20 dB is followed by a mixer with an IIP3 of 4 dBm. Which stage limits IIP3 of the cascade system more? So the question is like this: in the cascade, which stage is limiting IIP3? So not by looking at the individual IIP3, you have to see the effect on a cascade. All right, so while you guys are solving this, yeah, solve and let me know the answer. We'll discuss this in next class.